On a quiet Tibetan mountain night, an old monk softly recites ancient scriptures. Beside him lies a man who has just taken his last breath, his still form bathed in the flickering glow of butter lamps that cast dancing shadows on earthen walls. As the monk's chant echoes through the night, a mysterious journey begins to unfold, one where the soul seems to slip free from its body, wandering the hazy border between life and death. At that moment, is death truly the end, or the opening chapter of another journey? For many, the word death sends a chill down the spine, an unknown, dark, final destination. Yet, in the ancient wisdom of Tibet, death is seen not as an end, but as a gateway to rebirth, a moment when consciousness transforms. Legend tells of an ancient text lost in the snowy highlands, a book that holds the secrets of death and reincarnation, known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. In this mysterious manuscript, the end of life is not the closing of a story, but the prelude to a soul's passage through an intermediate state, setting the stage for its next life. Tonight, join us as we follow in the footsteps of the wise, uncovering the hidden wisdom of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. We'll explore the unknown facets of death, decode the profound meaning behind reincarnation, and step into the secret realm of the soul's journey. Are you ready? A thought-provoking journey is about to begin. In the 14th century, a wandering practitioner named Karmarimba discovered an ancient scroll hidden in a remote Tibetan cave. Legend has it that this secret text was buried by the great lotus-born master in the 8th century, containing profound mysteries of life, death, and reincarnation. Its Tibetan title, Bardo Realm, literally means liberation through hearing in the intermediate state, the very precursor to what we now call the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and ultimately the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. In Tibetan Buddhism, this text is seen as a map guiding the soul's journey. Monks would recite its passages to those on the brink of death, helping the departing consciousness navigate the disorienting intermediate state and find the path to light. Legend has it that if a dying person can stay aware and follow these teachings, they stand a chance to break free from the cycle of rebirth and attain liberation at the very moment of death. Because its content is so deep and mysterious, this wisdom about life and death was kept secret, passed down only within the inner walls of monasteries, with very few outsiders ever catching a glimpse. In the early 20th century, when Western scholars first translated it into English, they jokingly dubbed it the Tibetan Book of the Dead, a grim title that led many to mistakenly think it was filled with ghost stories. In reality, the text's references to light, visions, and deities are not about supernatural hauntings, but rather symbolic portrayals of the inner journey of consciousness. By the late 20th century, Tibetan teacher Sogyal Rinpoche reworked these ancient insights into a modern interpretation, what we now know as the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. The book caused quite a stir, sparking new interest in the concepts of past lives, rebirth, and end-of-life care in the East, while challenging Western views on death. From ancient manuscripts hidden deep within mountain monasteries to modern bestsellers on our bookshelves, this text has journeyed through time in ways few can imagine. Of course, once removed from its original context, it's also been misinterpreted. Some dismiss it as superstitious ghost lore, while others see it as a mere escapist fantasy. But diving into its historical and philosophical roots is key to truly appreciating the value of this ancient wisdom. Now let's dive into the death journey revealed by the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Picture this. In your final moments, your soul detaches from your body, and you float above, watching your own form and your weeping loved ones below. You try to scream, but no sound comes out, and then it hits you. You're already gone. Strangely enough, all the pain melts away, and you feel as light as a feather, like a soft breeze. At that point, you're no longer made of flesh and bone, but pure, unburdened consciousness. In Tibetan Buddhism, this in-between state, caught between this life and the next, is known as the Bardo. They say that at the exact moment of death, there's a flash of primordial light. If your awareness recognizes that light as the true source of your being, you can break free from the endless cycle of rebirth. But most souls miss that split-second opportunity. Instead, they tumble into a bizarre, ever-changing Bardo Realm. At first, you might find yourself lingering in a familiar setting, confused by the lack of any response. Then, slowly, everything around you begins to twist and warp, as if you've stepped into a surreal, dreamlike world. Blinding flashes of light, ear-splitting booms, one after the other, bring forth a mix of visions that range from blissful paradises to terrifying, hellish landscapes. No matter what form these visions take, the Tibetan Book of the Dead reminds us that they're all just projections of your own mind, manifestations of your past karma and inner thoughts. If, in that moment, you can see through the illusion, you won't be controlled by fear or desire. Unfortunately, most souls lose that precious clarity. Confronted with frightening images, they instinctively flee. When faced with tempting scenes, they chase after them. Driven by fear and greed, their consciousness gets caught in the pull of karma, searching for a new place to call home. It's said that this Bardo state can last up to 49 days, and eventually, your consciousness, like a moth drawn to a flame, will be pulled into a new life, marking the start of another journey. And so, the cycle of rebirth begins anew, with the drama of life unfolding on a fresh stage. Every night, we all experience a little death as we drift off to sleep and then awaken anew at dawn. Have you ever had a dream so vivid that the joys and sorrows felt as real as life itself, only to wake up and feel like you've stepped out of another world? In Tibetan Buddhism, dreams are seen as surprisingly akin to death. Sleep is like a brief death, and dreams are viewed as short-lived in-between states. Some seasoned practitioners even practice dream yoga, training themselves to become lucid in their dreams so that they can remain aware, even in the face of death, and not be misled by illusions. This idea blurs the line between life and death. Tibetan teachings suggest that we're always in some kind of in-between state, whether in our waking life, our dreams, or during deep meditation. That's why masters often say, life is like a dream, and dreams are like life. It makes you wonder, what if the reality we hold so dearly is just a long, elaborate illusion projected by our own minds? If what happens after death depends on our inner state, then how much of what we experience as reality is merely a reflection of our inner world? These mysterious teachings can be easily misunderstood. Some folks take the descriptions of radiant light and divine beings in these texts literally, imagining them as a real heaven or hell, while others lean towards a psychological view, seeing those images as symbols of our subconscious. Yet, no matter how you interpret it, the core wisdom remains clear. Only by recognizing the true nature of our mind and transcending fear and attachment can we achieve true liberation. What's fascinating is that many modern near-death experiences echo these ancient insights. Countless individuals who've brushed with death describe an out-of-body experience, journeying through a dark tunnel, encountering an overwhelming light, and even vividly reviewing their entire lives. Doesn't that sound remarkably similar to the accounts in Tibetan texts? Maybe the Tibetan Book of the Dead is revealing a universal journey at the threshold of death, one that transcends culture and language. And then there's the strange legend from Tibet. It's said that some great masters, at the moment of passing, transform into a shimmering rainbow body and vanish into thin air, leaving nothing behind but their nails and hair. This rainbow body is seen as the ultimate sign of perfected practice and liberation from the cycle of life and death. As unbelievable as it may sound, Tibetan records do contain such accounts, turning them into enduring, mysterious legends that continue to captivate us. Ancient wisdom only shows its true value when it's woven into our modern lives. What the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying offers isn't just some unfathomable myth, it's a whole new way of approaching life. For those of us caught up in the daily grind, the first step is to change how we view death. Instead of shying away in fear, we learn to face it squarely, turning our thoughts about death into a celebration of life. Take a few minutes each day to simply sit in silence. Reflect on life's impermanence and appreciate how fragile and fleeting it is. Realizing that everything eventually fades isn't a pessimistic outlook. It's a wake-up call to cherish the present and let go of pointless attachments. When you understand that death could come at any moment, you'll treat the people around you more sincerely and be bolder in pursuing your dreams, leaving fewer regrets behind. Like the book says, learning to live is learning to let go. Once you learn to let go, you can move forward unburdened. Another way to bring this wisdom into your life is through meditation and mindfulness. Try sitting quietly every day, focus on your breath, and simply watch your thoughts come and go without getting carried away by them. This practice trains you to become an observer of your own mind, so you're not at the mercy of your emotions. Over time, you'll find your inner calm grows, helping you stay clear-headed and composed, whether you're facing life's storms or the inevitable challenges of death. And if you're up for it, you can even explore advanced practices like lucid dreaming, learning how to stay aware even in your dreams. At the same time, we must be careful not to misuse this wisdom. Some folks, believing in reincarnation, tend to undervalue this life and pin all their hopes on the next. Others become so fixated on mystical experiences that they try to cheat their way into glimpsing past lives, neglecting the here and now. Remember, true wisdom isn't about escaping reality. It's about embracing it more fully. Talking about death isn't meant to send us spiraling into fantasy. It's meant to help us live more wisely and courageously in the present. Stick with these practices, and while we might never fully unravel the mysteries of life and death, we'll certainly gain more peace and strength on our journey, preparing our hearts for that final farewell. After this transformative journey into Tibetan wisdom, we start to see life and death in a whole new light. Death isn't the cold, final stop. It's just a part of our life's journey. What's really frightening isn't death itself, but the thought of never truly living or grasping the true meaning of life. Maybe it's only by facing death head-on that we can boldly embrace every new tomorrow without fear. So, has your perspective on death changed at all? Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments below. And if you feel that this ancient wisdom is something more people should know about, please share this video and invite your friends to join the exploration of life's deepest mysteries. You might even want to pick up a copy of the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, or any related material, to dive even deeper into the wisdom it holds. The mysteries of life and death might never have a definitive answer, but every sincere moment of reflection and every brave choice we make moves us closer to a life filled with meaning. Perhaps only by truly understanding death can we really understand life. So, when that final moment finally comes, are you ready to embark on your own journey of light, carrying wisdom and peace with you?